$342,987 is the income you need to earn to be considered in the top 5% of income earners in the United States. Listen, no matter what your goal is for 2024, I'm going to give you the blueprint of exactly how you can make that happen. You know, I love having very specific targets for my goals because it gives me an understanding of where I am in performance of who I can become. And so what I want to do today is I'm going to break down and give you the blueprint for whatever that income is for you. Now, I like to have some baseline. So if you're wanting to be in the top 10% of income earners in the United States, it's going to be a little over $170,000. If you're looking to be in the top 1%, that's going to be a little bit over $830,000 that you're going to be generating actually to be considered in those percentage ranges on your income. So whatever it is for you, no worries. I'm going to give you the exact blueprint on how you can make sure that you can reach that goal. So there's a couple things we need to do. We need to think about the who, what, when, where, and how are we going to get there. So I'm going to go through and break all these down, not necessarily in that order. And listen, stick around because towards the end, I'm going to have a very specific plan of action and some practical things in your real estate business that you can do to achieve these goals. So the first step in this process is what do we need? What do we need as far as transaction numbers to be able to achieve this goal? So I'm going to make this pretty easy for you. Again, you can adjust this to whatever your goal is, but let's just use this, that let's say that your average transaction after your splits, you get $10,000. Now, it's probably not going to be a round number like that, but this gives me an easy way to be able to put these numbers together. So if your average transaction nets out $10,000 to you after your splits, that means if we're wanting to make over $345,000, we need to get 35 transactions in 2024 to be able to achieve that goal. Now, what we need to do also is it's one thing to have this big rock out there that we're thinking about we need to roll down the hill, so to speak. Let's break this up into some daily activities. So if I'm thinking about this, what does it take? On average, the industry says that it's going to take about 50 different real estate related conversations to generate one transaction. Now, I want to encourage you that as we go into this year, don't just be thinking on these averages. Let's do a little bit more. I like to even start with 20% more. So let's think of it from 60 conversations. Promise you, if you go out there and you have 60 conversations and you do all of these numbers on an annual basis, it's not going to take that many. It's going to actually, you're going to get better and better, and it's going to get less and less the number of conversations you need. But let's use 60 as our baseline just so that we can be very conservative. Now, if we need 35 transactions times 60, that's going to come out to 1,800, 300, 2,100 conversations for the year, doing that with the quick math in my head. So we need 2,100 real estate related conversations through this year to be able to achieve this goal. All right, so if we're thinking about this, we need 2,100 conversations for the year, and we divide that by 12 months. Now we're talking about that we need roughly 175 conversations for the week now, or per month. Now if we're thinking about that, breaking that down, and I like to go ahead and divide those months by 4 weeks because in reality that's going to give us 48 weeks. We're going to have some time that we'd be off, some time that maybe we don't meet these goals, but it's going to give us a conservative number. Now we're talking about needing 44 conversations per week, which then breaking that down, if we're making calls 5 days a week, that's going to be 9 calls per day. Now we've got the understanding of exactly what it takes to reach the transaction goal. Again, you can apply these to whatever your goal is, whatever your average take-home pay is after your splits, and now you're going to have the pathway for the number of conversations that you need to achieve that goal. The next step is the where. Where are we right now? Where are you right now in your business? Let's take a real good look and see what do we have in place that we can anticipate we could probably have come true if we did the right things and we had those things happening. So I want to make 3 different lists now. The first list you want to make is the list of the potential listings you have in the next 12 months. These are people you've talked to. These are people that you feel like possibly will be selling in the next 12 months. The next list is the potential buyers in the next 12 months. Who are those potential people that will buy in the right situation from you in the next 12 months? Also, the third group is who are the people that would refer you business if the opportunity came available? Your sphere of influence. Who are these people? We're going to make those lists, and then I'm going to give you practical steps on how we can maximize the opportunities with each of these and make sure that we take full advantage of it. First group we're going to talk about is the potential listings. What is it that we can do to make sure that we secure the opportunities with those listings? The first thing is have a conversation. Pick up the phone, talk to them. Say, hey, listen, it's been a little while. You mentioned to me that you guys might be selling in the next 12 months. Just wanted to see if anything's changed, and also wanted to let you know that I'm going to continue to add value to you and get you prepared so that when the time comes, we're absolutely fully ready to launch this listing, to sell this thing as quick as possible and at the highest price possible for you guys. Once we've made that first conversation, we've got a better understanding of their time frame. Now what we're going to do is the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to give them an unsolicited video CMA. Now that we've got the timeline, we want to give them a place and a time where they can see what their value is. So I like doing this where I'm recording my screen, I'm going through those numbers. Listen, if you want to see an example of this, you can see it up above. We'll have a link to that. Also, what I want to do is I want to give them a baseline so that we can see how the market's adjusting throughout the time period between now and the time that they go ahead and list. This is an additional value that they really probably are not getting from anybody else. The next thing I want to do is I want to set them up where they're receiving automated emails on properties that are going on the market, going under contract, or that are sold in their neighborhood, where it will get emailed to them immediately. Also, make sure that's being emailed to you because it will cue you to notice those things and remember those opportunities. The next step, what we're going to do is I want to go into my schedule and I want to set follow-ups in my schedule as appointments. So if they're telling me they're going to sell in the next 3 months, listen, I need to be talking to them at least every week. So I'm going to have whatever day it is, Tuesdays, Fridays, whatever day you choose, 9 a.m. on my calendar, I'm going to have it where I'm going to call them or check in with them. And it's going to be an actual appointment that I have set to do so that I make sure I don't miss those opportunities. Last thing I'm going to do, and we're going to do this with all 3 of these lists, is we're going to make a next 10 lists. This is going to be a list that we're going to have. Basically, I kept it right on my board in front of me, and I took the owner's name, the address, the size of the house, I took the potential list price, I took the commission that was that I could make on this, and then I put on the side time frame that they had, and then lastly I had last time I spoke to them. I want to have this on a whiteboard so I can adjust this because I want to make sure that everybody on this list that is a potential listing I'm going to get in the next 12 months, that I'm going to be reaching out to them every single week in some way, shape, or form, whether that's email, whether that's text, whether that's a phone call, or whether it's giving them a new unsolicited video CMA. You see, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure with this group that we're maximizing those opportunities and none of these listing potentials that we have are going to fall through the cracks. Next up is that group of potential buyers that we have that we could be selling something to over the next 12 months. Now, the first thing we want to do with this group is we want to obviously have the phone conversation. So this is a conversation where we say, hey, listen, I know you mentioned that you might be consider buying a place in the next 12 months. There's a couple things we really need to do to get you prepared so that when this market turns or when opportunity presents itself, we're ready to go and we can take advantage of those opportunities as they arise. So a couple things we're going to do there. We're going to ask them to come in and have that consultation. While we're there, we're going to talk to them about, hey, listen, this is what we're seeing right now where interest rates are. One of the things that we need to do next is we need to make sure that I put you in touch with the lender so that you can go ahead and give them all of your loan documentation and get you pre-approved and ready to go so that we know that you're pre-approved for a loan so that we don't have to waste time there. This gives us a couple advantages. When we're making an offer, if we're competing with other people, we have a lockdown time period that we know we can close. We have an approval already done on your loan. This gives clarity to that potential seller. This also gives you the ability to make sure that you know that they are in a position to buy the houses you're showing them so that you don't waste time in the coming year. Getting them pre-approved is one of the first steps we need to do. And the way that you can sell this is let them know, and this is truthful, that when interest rates come down, lenders are going to absolutely get overwhelmed with the number of people that have been sitting on the sideline waiting for interest rates to come down. By going ahead and being proactive and getting the lenders the details and the information now, getting your file in order now, you're positioning yourself not to have to wait and making sure that we can take advantage of those opportunities. By sharing that and giving them that understanding and being a professional and getting them prepared, you're absolutely going to make sure that you're securing these opportunities. The next step we're going to do is we're going to identify exactly the type of properties they might consider purchasing. We're going to set them up where they're going to receive an automated daily email with properties that come on the market or are price reduced like the property they're looking for. This is also going to come to you. It gives you the opportunity to prompt you. A couple things we're going to do also is that we're going to make sure that we put in our notes, we're going to schedule in our schedule a time depending on their time frame. If it's a year, we're going to do something every week or two, and then depending on their motivation, as it gets closer, we're going to go down to daily almost, where we're checking in with them with a property or something that may be helpful for them in the buying process. Listen, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're taking advantage of these opportunities and that they're not just happening to walk into an open house because we haven't communicated with them, and just happening to go ahead and sign something and we missed out on that opportunity. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to put them on our next 10 list. We talked about the sellers and what we're going to do. Very similar here. We're going to have their name, the type of property they're looking for or the area they're looking for, the potential price range, the potential commission for you, because that's going to give us an understanding of what's at stake here to make sure that you stay in contact with them, and the last time that we spoke with them. Again, with these folks, we don't want to go a full week without having something that was personalized. And by securing these buyers and these sellers, it's going to give us that opportunity to make sure that we take full advantage of all the opportunities that are sitting right in front of us. The next list we make was our sphere of influence. So here's a couple things we can do here to make sure we maximize the opportunity for multiple transactions for them or getting those referrals. I like to invite them to lunch or to coffee, and just to kind of have a catch-up time frame. During that time, this is what I would love to have you ask them, because this is showing where you're coming from a place of service, which absolutely puts the law of reciprocity in place. Listen, this next year, I'm going to do my best to add as much value to as many people as possible. That's kind of my goal for the year. So I just wanted to, while we're here, is ask you, what can I do to help you? Is there a review I could do for your business? Is there a charity that you like to support? Is there something going on with the job that you're in where I could support you in some way? Or is there an activity that your kids are involved in that I could support, or that I could at least promote through social media? What is it I could do to really help you? Because that's my goal this year, is to really help as many people as possible. Typically, they will do that. And most people will then say, well, what can I do for you? Of course, that opens that opportunity. But even if they don't, just say, hey, and part of me making sure that I'm helping as many people as possible this next year is obviously helping them with my work. So I want to just thank you in advance for keeping me in mind in case you hear of somebody who's considering buying or selling. I want to just ask you one favor this year. I would just like, if you get a chance, send me one person this year. If you could just find one person that I could help in my real estate business, that would be extremely helpful for me. And I hope you know that obviously I'll do anything I can to support you in the coming year as well. You see, when you do this from a place of giving instead of just asking, it's going to hit a little bit different. It's going to give you more opportunities. Also, by making sure that you state that you just, I would love it if you could just send me one person this year. Now you've got it in the top of mind, and you've prompted them to make sure that they go out and they help you in the way that you've asked for. This is a great way. Again, what we're going to do lastly with this group is we're going to put them in our next 10 list. Now, the reason for this is, who are the 10 most likely people to send you referrals in the coming year? Make sure, just like you did with your sellers, just like you did with your buyers, that you make a list of who they are. You make a list of something personal so that you can note that, what it is they ask you to help with, so that you're prompting yourself throughout the year to make sure that you're checking in on that and seeing how that's going, and also put down that last time that you talked to them. This group, maybe it's every 2 weeks, but we're going to make sure that we're staying in contact with them, we're staying top of mind, and that is going to generate those referrals we're looking for. All right, once we secured those transactions that we can pretty much kind of think that we could count on as long as we do the work here, now we have to ask ourselves, how are we going to get the other additional transactions? What is it that you're going to do? Now I want to break this down into the buyers and potential sellers, because buyers are going to be opportunities for you to generate faster sales in typical market environments. So I want to start with that group. And let me just say this, buyers are very specific. So what is it, and who is the ideal group of buyers that you can work with? Is it first-time home buyers, investors? Is it second homeowners? Is it luxury property owners? Who is your ideal client? Because when we understand who our ideal client is, now we can begin to shape the marketing and the activities that we're going to do to attract those buyers that we're looking for those additional transactions. Now let's get super practical and talk about some of the specific strategies you can do. Number one is to start with the people in your database. Who is it that has been in your database receiving properties that you haven't talked to in a little bit? Re-engage with that group. Tell them, it's been a little while since I talked to you. Wanted to make sure that you're receiving those emails, and I'm not overwhelming you with them, but I'm getting you valuable information that you want and need. Should I make any adjustments to the type of properties and the frequency with which I'm sending those emails? When you send that, that's going to give you the opportunity to have some of these conversations with those buyers that are in your database that already know you, or at least have an understanding of who you are because you've reached out to them in the past. The second way we can do this is buying leads. We can have these conversations by buying leads. You can go out and buy leads. You have to understand that it's going to take time, and you're going to probably find out, like I have, that the quality of the leads is directly proportional to the quality of the follow-up. So have your systems in place before you start buying leads to make sure that you're going to follow up in the right way as well. Third way is to host open houses. Open houses give you the ability to be where the buyers are out and about. Being face-to-face with buyers are quality conversations that give you the ability to identify some prospects that can help you reach that buyer or that closing goal that we're looking for at the end of the year. The next area we're talking about is making sure that you're taking advantage and producing searchable video content. What are the things that people are going to look for or search for before they move to your area? Are they going to search for the 3 best neighborhoods in whatever your city is? Are they going to search for the best school districts based on the demographics and the understanding of what those numbers are that they're producing as far as scores out of those schools? What is it that you can do to produce content that people are going to search for? Best areas to live in when moving from whatever area they might be moving from if there's a feeder market. You see, when you produce that searchable content, it's going to give you the opportunity to find those buyers before they even get in your market. Next up is producing social media content that draws buyers in. Now, there's something that's out there right now that's really working right now. And what it is basically giving a challenge. So this is what it looks like. Going to your social media and saying, I could use a little help. I'm looking for 5, now whatever it is for you, people that are looking to find a legacy second home at the beach. I'm looking for 5 people that want to stop renting this year and own their first home. I'm looking for 5 people that are looking to invest in their first investment properties. Whatever it is, whoever your target audience is, I'm looking for 5 people, for whatever it is you're saying, to make sure that I can devote my time, my energy, and my expertise to make sure that whatever that goal was that you said, that this is what I can do to help them achieve that this year. If you know of someone, please tag them in the information below in the comment section or direct message me with some names. I would love to make sure that I'm helping people achieve their dreams this year in real estate. Again, this is a great way for you to produce a video piece of content and also a post on social media that will absolutely turn the referral machine on for you. So when you're out there and you're thinking about this, make sure it's not just social media content that's showing the lifestyle. Actually ask for people to help you find your ideal client, and you're going to find more of those ideal clients. Next up is to develop a buyer brochure for people moving to your area. We just did this as a company. We'll be rolling this out in the next week or so for all of our agents, but we wanted to give people an understanding of what it takes to own in our area. We wanted to talk about some of the amenities. We wanted to talk about some of the services we provide that set ourselves apart. This is a great piece of content that you can utilize to distribute out, however you're distributing out, social media, video content, sharing it with friends of yours to share with friends of theirs. Whatever it is, producing this helpful guide gives you the ability to add value in a way that draws those buyers to you. Last but not least, if you're focusing in on first-time home buyers, hosting a first-time home buyer seminar with a lender and also a credit repair person is a great way right now. NAR statistics told us that roughly 45% of all buyers they anticipated in 2023 were going to be from those people that were first-time home buyers. I'm anticipating that number is going to be very similar in 2024. So if you're looking for a group of people that could absolutely use your help, especially if we see interest rates declining a little bit, that's an area where you can add value and absolutely find some of those transactions you're looking for. All right, we focused on the buyers. Now let's focus on where we're going to get the listings we're looking for. Now, I want to start with some things, and some of this may be a reminder. Some of this is stuff that's going to be new to you, but taking action on this, I want to give you 7 specific strategies that you can do. The first one is don't sleep on expired listings. Expired listings are what we're seeing more now as we get into a more normalized market where a listing has gone the full length of time. I had an agent actually reach out to me yesterday who'd been in the business for 4 years and never had an expired listing and was wondering what to do with that. Now we're seeing more and more of this. Develop a plan of action. How can you add value to that group? What can you do that's going to make sure that when the opportunity for them to relist, that you're going to set yourself apart? Developing that plan. You can search online and you can find tons of these plans. Get that in place and you're going to get some listing opportunities in 2024. Next up is unsolicited video CMAs. Now listen, the more you've talked to these folks, the better the relationship you have, where it's not just a cold email with the value of their home, the more likely you are to have that opened and the more value you're going to be adding where you stay top of mind. I did this in my business. If you want to see exactly how to do this, we talked about it a little bit earlier. There was a link earlier in this video, but make sure that you're out there and you're adding value in a unique way. The biggest thing that homeowners want to know is the value of their home. This is a unique way for you to stand out from all the other agents out there. The third way is hosting open houses. Yes, it gives you the potential for buyers, but we know that the nosy neighbors, so to speak, that are curious about how their value shapes up and compares to the house that's for sale in their neighborhood are probably going to want to stop by an open house, and so that they can see it and so that they can compare it in their minds. Hosting open houses and having a time period where you let the owners in the neighborhood know that you're going to be open maybe 30 minutes to an hour early so that you can specifically understand that these are people that are owners in the neighborhood will absolutely generate additional opportunities for listings for you. Next up is geographical farming, those opportunities when we have something that happens in a specific neighborhood. So if you've just listed a house, call the 25 nearest neighbors and let them know that, hey, I'm getting this new place on the market. Just want to make sure all the neighbors know so that they'd have an opportunity to potentially pick their neighbor. Just curious if you knew of anybody that might be moving to this area. Always in these conversations with, I'm anticipating we're going to have a lot of activity on this place. I'd be the worst realtor in the world if I didn't at least ask if there's a price where you guys might consider selling your home. Again, adding value. That's on that initial listing. If you're hosting an open house, call the neighbors and let them know. If you have that closing, once that closing happens, call to give them the information and just say, tell them the details of how you were able to get that place sold or about the sale if it's not your sale, and then ask them if they are considering selling in the next 12 to 24 months as there was a ton of activity on this house. These are opportunities that will generate not only these new relationships that you can continue to add value to, but every so often you're going to find that person that says, it's crazy that you called. We were just talking about putting our house up for sale. Could you come by and give us some value? Doing the work, making the phone call, stepping out of your comfort zone is absolutely going to get those listing opportunities. Next up is for sale by owners. They need your help more than ever before. Make sure that you're following up with these folks, you're checking in, you're giving value, and make sure that you're the agent they think of when they get ready to possibly list their home for sale. This happens by having the opportunity to give them value. What is it they need? They need an understanding where the market is. They just need potentially some help with referring them to some people maybe that are service providers like a title company, a surveyor, an appraiser, just educating them on the process. And then basically making sure that you let them know that, hey, listen, if you aren't able to sell it, I would love the opportunity to interview for that position. The more value you add, the more opportunity you're going to get those listings when they go from FSBO to listing with a realtor. Last but not least, for sellers, just like with buyers, produce searchable video content. What is it that a seller wants to know? 7 things that you should do before putting your house up for sale in your city. How to prepare for selling your home in the springtime during the winter months. Whatever it is, think about what it is that people would search for and produce video content that add value in that way. People are utilizing YouTube, they're utilizing Google to find these things that they're looking for. Be the one that provides it and you're going to get those opportunities. Next up in this process is who. And most people would think, who are the people that we're going to work with? Who is our ideal client? But let me just say this, it's even more important to identify who are you going to become. Who are you going to grow into in this year? What is it that you're going to do to set yourself apart? What is the training you need to do? What is the education you need to do? And you need to give yourself on what's going on in this local market. Do you need to become a better negotiator? Do you need to understand video content production? Do you need to understand social media? What is it that you need to learn, and who do you need to become to be the person that attracts those ideal clients for you? When you become that person, I promise you're going to be so magnetic that the people are going to chase you down to give you business. The only one we left off is when, and that answer is easy. It's now. Now's the time to take action. It's not about just planning this. I want to give you some grace to go out and plan the rest of sometime today, some of the things that you're going to do. But I want you to, once you get that number of the calls that you're going to make, the day that you understand how many calls you need each day to reach that goal, make those calls that day. Take action now. When you take massive action, you can expect massive results. Make sure that you're the person that's working the hardest in your market, and I promise the results are going to be right in line with the amount of work you're giving. Hope this has been helpful, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.